LTT to enhance their logistics, recruitment, training, and other related functions. The LTT maintained approximately 3,000 cadres physically in the East in early 2006 and reinforced systematic actions against the security forces. These cadres were widely referred to as Karuna cadres, even after its leader, Karuna Amman's breakaway from the organization. And it is believed that they were the best, or rather the finest jungle fighting outfit among the LTT. The LTT's modus operandi in the East at this point of time as enumerated on screen. Concept of operations, the intent. The intent of the operation was to inflict maximum attrition to the LTT in order to provide secure environment for the population. Scheme of maneuver. In the scheme of maneuver, security forces was to accomplish the objective shown on the slide. Main effort. The main effort of the security forces was to segregate the civilians from terrorists and inflict maximum attrition on the LTT. The battle for water. The strategic value of the Trincomalee Harbour, both nationally and internationally, and political and military leverage, the LTT could apply on the government through threat of terrorizing Sinhalese and Muslim villages were the key strategic imperatives governing the Eastern conflict. Moreover, the Trincomalee Harbour was of critical importance in sustaining the population in Jaffna Peninsula and the naval and land operations in north. However, the first shots in the Eastern conflict were fired not over expected strategical or political issues, but the most important resource essential to the survival of mankind, water. The water, the indispensable for existence, be it man or animal. Therefore, the Eastern campaign was forced upon the security forces in a complex civilian backdrop. Hurried but coherent military strategy blended with innovative concept developed from the beginning of the new millennium cemented the way to unfold the decisive battle. Mavilaru stream comprises of 5 sluice gates, the 3 important being head sluice, source sluice, and radial gate. The source sluice and radial gate had been constructed across the 2 branches of Verugal River, which flows towards east. The head sluice controls the water flow towards north, which provides the water for cultivation and miscellaneous livelihood of people of 20 different villages. The Mavilaru sluice and connecting earth bund was situated approximately 5 kilometers of the nearest security force detachment, Kallar, in the Army's 2-2 division area, tactical area of responsibility. In the month of July, 21st July 2006 to be precise, the LTT's self-declared commemorative month of Black July. Villagers from all corners affected reported to the irrigation engineer responsible of unusual reduction in water flow through distributing channels. Consequently, the engineer, having proceeded to inspect the gate to ascertain the matter of concern, had been stopped by LTT at gunpoint approximately a kilometer before the Sluice Gate complex. Having exhausted all possible means of negotiation to resolve the dispute with the jackals in Taigavea, a sustained operation was launched on 28 July 2006 under the Operational Command of East, with troops comprising of infantry and special operation forces supported by armor, artillery, and affiliated technical and combat support units. The special operation forces and infantry fought their way through jungles under heavy direct and indirect fires to restore the situation. Dense minefields, submerged with variety of booby traps, improvised explosive devices delayed the security forces' advance until the precious water flow was restored on 8 August 2006. Troops suffered heavy casualties as they were exposed to high-intensity combat after a 4 years of fragile peace. The success of the operation generated morale and winning spirit among the ranks and files of the security forces, to include closely supported air units. As the operation to reopen the gates was in progress, the radicals, identifying the appropriate moment, launched a series of attacks on detachments securing general area Muttur. Desperate defensive action by the troops repulsed many of the attacks. However, the LTT continued direct and indirect fire assaults on Muttur and Kaddaparichan army detachments to deny the mutual support between these two detachments. The naval personnel manning Muttur jetty had to be evacuated under heavy artillery bombardment to the army detachment nearby. Many innocents, especially the Muslims living in the periphery, fallen victim or least displaced during the battle. The induction of commandos and additional infantry battalion turned the tide of the battle, resulting in the restoration of the security forces detachments, which in turn facilitated the launch of subsequent operations. The LTT continued its artillery fire from Sampur and Ralkuli towards the naval dockyard, Air Base China Bay, and threatened the Japanese-led investment Mitsui Cement Factory and Singaporean-steered Prima Flour Plant, when unlawful fire was poured into Trincomalee oil farms where there were 99 oil tanks, which is of strategic value. Thus, disturbed the tranquil nature that prevailed in the Trincomalee town, especially when the civilians started to move out such areas due to uncertainty of their safety. Security forces were forced to provide people with basic amenities and guide them to safe areas, which were later administered by the civilian authority, assisted by the INGOs and NGOs, which is of praiseworthy. Sooner, the LTT commenced attacking naval crafts sailing in and out Trincomalee Harbour and Muttur Jetty. The situation became a threat to the sea lines of communication which supplied military and civilian necessities to Jaffna Peninsula. The disruption would have provided us a tremendous advantage to the LTT in the event they have planned to launch an offensive in Jaffna Peninsula. Moreover, the displaced civilians in Muttur, who had experienced the LTT's indiscriminate direct fire raids, refused to resettle unless their security had been guaranteed by the security forces. It was then that the decision was taken to launch an operation in order to clear and secure Sampur and adjacent areas on empathetic grounds. Eventually, the battle to retake Mavillaru transformed itself into a full-scale humanitarian military thrust to liberate the people of East from the brutalities of LTT. The LTT, probably considering a similar exploit, increased their strength to prevent the security forces' advance from land or sea. Development of LTT activities in the areas of Sampur and Ralkuli posed a direct threat to naval activities in Trincomalee Harbour. A considerable increase of sea tiger activities with fast attack crafts, suicidal boats made a significant change in their capabilities. Special forces, followed by infantry units, infiltrated into the LTT position, demonstrating classical small group operation expertise, cleared Sampur on the 2nd September 2006, effectively ending the indirect threat to Trincomalee Harbour and vital installation in the area. Once again, the employment of elite forces alongside small groups of infantry to direct indirect fires and air support contributed immensely to the defeat of LTT in Sampur and to wrest control of Trincomalee entirely, with the successive limited operations expanding towards north, where the LTT had the transit bases to facilitate their movements north-south, vice versa. Clearing of Batticaloa. The success of the security forces in Trincomalee effectively sealed the LTT lines of sustenance and isolated defences along coast, including Kadirveli and Wakare. Further, LTT continued to hold these defences to contain the security forces in east in order to prevent the security forces strengthening north, Jaffna Peninsula in particular. By now, the government of Sri Lanka had firmly decided to clear the remainder of the east as a precondition to the eradication of menace of LTT. The operation launched through Army's 2-3 Division was spearheaded by special forces aimed at clearing the coast, Kadirveli and Wakare, and the terrorist stronghold areas. The concept of operation focused on blending conventional and asymmetric tactics, which was achieved through the employment of infantry and special operations forces in conjunction across the width and depth of the area of operation. Special Forces elite in forefront established conditions for infantry for consequent maneuvers. The operation was conducted in stages designed by the Special Forces to gradually reduce the combat efficiency of the LTT through deliberate and systematic attrition followed by groundbreaking applications.